From now on, we don't talk about it. It never happened. Oh boy, do I wish that was the case with The Ghost Within, written and directed by Lawrence Fowler, also written by Jeff Fowler, from Fowler Films. I'm starting to sense a little bit of a pattern here. They did the Jack-in-the-Box movies. Yes, a movie about a haunted Jack-in-the-Box, or demonic Jack-in-the-Box. I still need to watch those. The cover art alone dictate that I need to watch them, but some movies get away from me. This isn't about a haunted Jack-in-the-Box. This is about a girl, well, now a woman, named Margot, that witnessed her sister Evie die when she was a child. And now, 20-something years later, she's back at the home where she grew up to try and figure out who killed her sister. She's also got a husband, Mason, played by Tom Millen. And Margot, by the way, is played by Michaela Longden. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. And from there, we have a horror movie. She's trying to prove that her childhood home is haunted. It's a big old mansion. And her father was sent away for these crimes, because the daughter ended up dead, and it was the father that was blamed, and the stepmother is seemingly out of the goddamn picture, and now everything's covered with sheets, creepy noises, all this weird stuff, and the ghost of her sister is constantly showing up at 9:09 p.m., proving that's when she was murdered. So now Margot must figure out what's going on, solve this mystery before everybody is history. The Ghost Within tales, woohoo. Okay, typical sounding story here. The acting is, I guess, decent for the fact that it's an independent horror movie. You can't really expect too much when you take a look at the cover art for this, but independent low-budget horror movies sometimes can be really good. I mean, even with the small budget, small cast, small production, small, you can make the most if you have ingenuity. And even if your script treads familiar ground, you could end up doing something that could be at least deemed as fun, or like, holy shit, okay, this is familiar, but they really did something good here. Or you can do what The Ghost Within did and basically take every familiar cliche, trope, and just basically slop it out on a goddamn plate like it's fucking goulash or like it's beans on toast. Sorry, this does take place in the UK. Or like Spotted Dick. What even is Spotted Dick in the UK, by the way? Answers in the comments, please. And you also could take any halfway decent cast that is trying to make this script work and make it seem like every character sustained several major head injuries. Honestly, this is one of the lamest horror movies I have seen in quite a while. With a neat little idea, but it tries to throw a few twists and turns in, and it makes every character either stupid or unlikable, or both. And that's not a good recipe for a horror movie. I did pay about, roughly $8 to rent this thing on Amazon, and I have no problem throwing a few bucks towards a horror movie. Granted, my money doesn't really go that far, but doing that instead of going to pirated sites does help directors and writers and the cast members go on to do bigger and better things. And that is why I decided to dive into movies like this. But this wasn't even entertaining. This was, I'm sorry, fucking terrible. Not even mixing words, fucking terrible. This was bad. Every character was really, really cliche. I mean, you think, oh, we have a hero to root for. And maybe she's worth rooting for. Because she has a legit reason to be upset. Nobody believes her in the fact that her, childhood home is haunted, and that her sister is trying to tell her something, desperately trying to tell her something. There's also this ghost hunter, named Barton Bailey, that has written books about, to give people peace of mind, and written books about, ghost hunting and all that. He was a former paranormal investigator, now he's a writer, and he's got a son, Charlie. And really the only standout that I remember from this was Sarah Alexandra Marks, who, my goodness, you want to talk about somebody lovely? Holy shit, she has a bit part in this, and more of her, please. I need to see more movies that she's in. This is not the worst movie that I have seen this year. This isn't even the worst horror movie I have seen within the past 30 days. But it is one of the laziest. Because as a low production film, you have to work within your parameters, and you also don't need to make it 102 minutes long when you have enough material to maybe do 80 minutes. And that's the thing about this movie. It ends up trying to throw a curveball in near the end that really just undoes every single goddamn thing that this movie had going for it. There aren't a lot of Easter eggs. It's on a very linear path. And sure, maybe it's about dredging up memories or dealing with memories and dealing with family issues and all that, but this doesn't end up, making a good, deep narrative. It's not even a good ghost story. It's not even anything good as far as dealing with trauma. It just ends up being stuff that is just presented to us, and we have to basically say, oh, yeah, we've seen this all before. We've seen it done better, even by, filmmakers that had about the same budgetary constraints. I don't even fault the writers and director. I don't fault them for making a film and maybe trying to just have a little bit of fun with it, but this is so generic and so painful and so badly done that I can't help but say this movie does not get a recommendation. That being said, if you do decide to rent it, if it's not on a streaming service, rent it, pay some money, rent it, and watch it with some friends or whatever, but at least support the artist. That much I have to say. I want to try and say that in every single review. So now I am going to get into spoilers. These spoilers will not take very long. Trust me, they absolutely won't. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay, she's having flashbacks of all the stuff that happened when she was a kid. The mother, Nancy, stepmother rather, is very, very mean, can't love children that are her own, wants her own children, but no, her husband won't give her kids because he has 2 kids to take care of. Also, Evie is wearing a mask. You see this in the cover art. She's wearing a mask because she's disfigured. We don't actually see how disfigured she actually is, but she's always wearing this damn thing. It's like a porcelain doll mask, or kind of a glammed up porcelain doll type mask. And then Margot keeps trying to discover what's happening. Mason is cheating on her with Sarah Alexandra Marx's character. That is his attempt to, get his books published. He goes off within 20 minutes to go to a book publishing meeting that actually was and turned into dissolved into sex, and then leaves again. She knows that he's cheating on her. Too many pronouns, pal. Sorry, Vince McMahon. And this Barton Bailey guy, not Barton and Bailey College, if you get it, you get it, or Barnum and Bailey College, screwed that one up. He is out to prove that anybody that tries to do seances or all this stuff, it turns out to actually be bullshit, and that ghosts aren't actually real, but he knows they're real. And then he agrees to help Margot figure out what's going on. And then it turns out that he was there to make it seem like she's actually insane, delete any evidence because the husband paid him off to make her insane, or make it seem like she's insane because this mansion and all this stuff is worth a lot of money. He's going to use this to go off with his new woman and do that. Make his own publishing company. There's one thing about ending a relationship, it's another to be a full-on dick about. But then also, the ghost shows up a little bit later and decides to take a sign pole and impale him so he's dead. Mason, the husband, meaning. And then Margot manages to convince Barton to come there, and he's going to use holy water to stop her because suddenly he is Father Marin from the goddamn Jesus Christ, my God, it turned into The Exorcist all of a sudden for no goddamn reason. So he gets his face slashed. He's trying to throw holy water on the ghost, and then Evie basically tells Margot, oh yeah, you don't remember this, but you actually played hide and seek with me and played a cruel prank by locking me in the grandfather clock that keeps stopping at 9:09, and that's pretty much it. And then she died, and the father took the blame for it. And Margot didn't remember this. And then he throws Barton shows up with his face slashed, throws the holy water at her and says, I'm sorry, but I'm not going with you. Throws the holy water at her, and then she gets sucked back into the clock. And then Margot gets sucked into the clock too. That is the end of the goddamn movie. He gets sucked into the goddamn clock. God, yeah, speaking of suck, this movie sucked. Eat shit, The Ghost Within. I'm sorry. This was terrible. Gets an F. Gets a really, really resounding F. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Reckland. I'll see you soon.